nature.
Welcome to Deep Dive Daily.
Good morning to everyone on Earth except for Danny Ainge, who ruined my draft night. Not really ruined. Like, ultimately, the draft was fine thanks to Khan going 4 and Noah not going in the top 9. But
that was big.
The CLV I had on the exactly correct 5, 6, 7, 8 of Fears, Ace, Queen, Trey, which I think is what would have happened if Fears goes 5. That'll haunt me because that was a bit. That would have been a big windfall. I think I had 5 to 1 or better on all of those numbers, and I had multiple clicks, and that would have been just that would have been the run out of dreams. Instead, I'd like to kind of get your take on this.
I was going to say, you're probably not the angriest person about that pick for Utah.
I'm definitely not.
No,
I'm definitely not the angriest.
I know somebody else who is also not excited about that pick for Utah, which is kind of crazy, but at the same time, guess what? That's how it works. Like, get a new agent, get your life sorted, go play some ball, win 32 games, lose the play-in, and figure.
For Utah,
do you think they can get into the 10th seed?
No.
Okay.
No. They are terrible.
I'm trying to think of like
Utah.
I know, but there's like 4 teams worse than them.
Their fair rating is a -5.
All right, never mind.
The rest of the West is
win 27
really,
games
really decent.
And regroup for 26.
Yeah. Like, a good example, like the Spurs are trying to get into that conversation, right? The Spurs are like a pick 'em right now.
And the Spurs
Utah's
have
a
-5.
Yeah.
Play. Spurs have names. And they added another one. Spurs could be fun next year. Outside of that, I it's kind of like the old wife asks you how the casino went. Broke even. That was kind of that kind of night for me. Like, I had a lot of upside on the exactas as well. I had a queen.
Like, what
queen
it was a what could have been night.
Yeah. Big bailout was. I was telling you about Kalshi, how you keep getting these emails like, "Hey, this market move, this market." I have to change that, by the way. Like, I can't get, especially the day of the draft when I had a few positions. I had like 40 emails from them yesterday afternoon. I need to maybe turn that into push notifications now that I have the app on my phone as well. But just kept adding to Clayton top 20 as anytime that number dropped. And that was nice. That's what brought me back to having a nice day. Like, needed that, reinvested that money into some soccer already.
The best part of that was like, and that just like the major lesson was like the over-unders, even if you're not getting the better prices, if you have multiple outs for a player to make his under, or if you have sincere belief that an over is, there's just not enough spots and not enough outs for a player and you take his over. Like, those are just better bets. Like, the fact that the market has evolved to a lot of just exactly correct. I think that was a good move by the bookmaking industry, right? Because they are writing a lot more vig in those markets, number one, and there's a lot fewer ways they can get like really hurt in those, because the totals, and we saw it yesterday with the totals that really moved, even the ones that were wrong, like they only moved one way. Like, there wasn't a ton of back and forth. You weren't writing a lot of two-way action on those totals. And so it was pretty interesting to see. And I would say the books probably made a killing the way I saw some of the favorites get bet, that, particularly in that exact 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 range. Like, there was like Ace Bailey closed like -250 to go 6th. Fears closed -180 to go 5th.
Yeah.
Queen closed -120 to go 7. Like, there was significant action in those 3, and they all went up in smoke. So
and then the Nets in Toronto moved some things around for some people as well. The Nets pick was puzzling.
Sure,
I almost bet that over on that guy.
I would have missed.
I would have. What was his over under? Was like 15 or something.
The thing about the Nets, and like, honestly, I didn't know or even really suspect or have an inkling at all that the top tier guards were all going to be gone when they picked 8th But when you looked at who they worked out, the top flight guys were all guards.
Yeah.
And so like pretty clearly they were just going to take the best guard on their board first, and that happened to be Igor. And I think the reaction to what the Nets
I think too, because that wasn't somebody I'd projected top 10 a lot.
Yeah, and I generally think the reaction to what the Nets did draft wise is fine. I mean, they're going to be absolutely terrible.
What was this guy's name? He was drafted like 14, 15, somewhere in there. The Asian guy,
the 16th overall, the Chinese guy,
real big guy.
Yeah, Yang or Wang.
That was funny. I think he like paid for tickets to go to the draft. Like, I think he might have been there on his own dime because he wasn't
Hanson Yang.
He wasn't like down with the other people. He was like up in the stands.
He's like, hey, I'm here.
Hey, my God, I got drafted. Like, that's a crazy. Like, somebody in the stands just stood up.
I think he was expected to go night 2, and they wanted to have some day two players there because they're broadcasting day 2. And I think that's what he was just invited to sit there and watch day 1, not expected to be going in day 1. And then, oh, surprise, you are.
It's one of those too where it's kind of like you'll see it sometimes when it's not like one of the top tier European leagues, or it's not like France, or they're not playing EuroLeague, but his highlights look sick as shit. And then you like realize like, oh, he is not playing against very good teams here.
Oh, for sure.
Like, these guys playing defense are very, very bad.
Yeah, it's a very common problem, but sometimes they develop into good players. Here's what I want to say: that there were perilously few bright spots about the broadcast. Overall, I thought the broadcast was fucking atrocious. It was a cannot watch. Most of the jokes on Twitter were like, hey, look at how bad these guys are doing at their jobs, which is depressing. But it was an awful broadcast. There was not a lot of fun. There was not a lot of funny. There was just making fun of. And I thought that the teams that ultimately get pilloried, like the Nets for taking 5 players and not really having a clear plan, and the Pelicans for trading away really, really high capital to take Queen. Like, in the moment, like, I appreciated it because it was validation that our information we got was correct. But the trade itself was an absolute atrocity. Like, that was a disaster of a trade. The Hawks had the best night of the draft. I thought the Grizzlies had a pretty decent night as well.
Colin,
I think this was
the best moment of the broadcast. Colin Cowherd got drafted.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. But I want to go back to the information. So silent shout out to the folks who were sharing information with us. Appreciate you. And of the people that were really working hard to get the right information, I feel like their stuff was like 99% good. I never got anyone that really said for sure that Jazz were going to take Fears, and one guy who was basically like, I know it's not Fears, but I don't know who it is. And I don't know who was ultimately, it was kind of an anonymous wall of money that really supported Fears 5 yesterday in the market. That kind of, definitely was a mirage for me, or at least, it tricked me into thinking like, wow, shit, somebody out there just knows. Like, his under 6.5 got bet like it was an absolute sure thing. Like, right when limits went up, it was like that thing just got boom, smashed. And it was like, oh, okay, so somebody just knows Fears is going top 5. It flipped from plus money to like minus 200 and a flurry of clicks. And then so then you're just like, okay, well, if that's that the Pelicans pretty clearly also very much thought the Jazz were going to take Fears, and that was why the word got out that they were going to take Queen 7, and that's why Queen closed favorite 7, and that's why his under got thermo nuked. And ultimately, either the Jazz snowed everyone that they were always going to take Ace, or Trader Danny stepped in and said, kid, I know I gave you the keys, but I'm hearing you're going to take this little point guard. No, you're taking the athletic scorer who has all of the same, traits as Jason Tatum. Like, that's what's happening. I don't care if he doesn't want to play here. He's a Jazz, because that's kind of the way it felt, the way it played out. But yeah, I in general, I didn't really game theory out that situation in my head to cover my bases. I think I had every other possible outcome.
Have you
And so I'm bummed.
have you been up to Zion?
National Park, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
beautiful.
Beautiful country, beautiful state. I
Dude,
cannot
Salt Lake City
imagine.
is a great city. Not Salt Lake City, but like Park City, Cottonwood
Park City's-
Canyon. Like there's some incredible stuff there.
I cannot. I'm just picturing like Andy, 41-year-old Andy. If good job comes up, has to happen, everything works out, I could live in Park City.
No fucking question.
21-year-old Andy moving to Utah as a state. I don't think he's a happy camper. I saw SLC Punk, man. I don't blame any youngster not wanting to get drafted, not only to go live there, but it's not a very good situation. Obviously from a team building standpoint either, because they're several years away from having any sort of fun, I guess. But yeah, that was a weird one. And then between that and then the rest kind of falling into place, there was heavy Noah steam to the under as well.
I think
that was not making me feel good, because I got a much worse price than you. But I told you, I'm like, I kind of just lumped all in on minus 200 at the end of the day the other day, and watched it kind of work its way against me back. I think it topped out at about minus 260, minus 280, somewhere in there. And then it started to work its way back yesterday, which sucked.
Yeah.
But in the end, that one, that was nice.
I want to kind of comment on that really quickly. Givony, who
Giovanni.
Givony had he must have had every single note that we got, like to the word, because he was putting stuff in his mock in the descriptors that was like, and he was saying stuff on broadcast that was like, man, where have I heard this before 2 hours ago? Like, holy hell. And he mocked Noah 9 first, and then he was kind of the only guy that did that. And I read that as, so it's not Noah, because Givony has a specific close relationship with that front office, like consulting with them. Like, he's not ever going to tip their hand as far as the player they actually want. Because
you said that the other day, and it makes sense.
That's bad business.
You don't bite that hand.
Yeah, my Noah exposure was because I was like, there's no one else in the top 8 who's going to take him. And 9, I think there is that mock, him putting him there specifically told me it wasn't going to be that, right? And then, whatever, that kid does the video that went mega viral where he's like, I fashioned my game after Scotty Barnes and Kawhi Leonard and Pascal Siakam, and everybody's like, oh, he has a promise from Toronto. And I was like, oh, I don't love that. and then that was, I think, fueling all of the speculation that he was going to go 9, because there was no actual intelligence out there about what Toronto was going to do. They were entertaining all kinds of trades. I don't think anyone outside of Sam V from The Athletic, his last change in his mock was putting Colin Murray Burns, CMB, whatever that guy's name is. His last change in his mock was putting him 9 to the Raptors. So he had it, but nobody else did.
The other thing about Noah is I think he might suck at basketball.
Oh,
I watched him, but like
I good chance of that.
Like, I just don't think I don't think he's very polished. To say, like, he's better than me at basketball.
You know how that might be true, Andy?
Because I watched some of the Ulm Bayern shit.
And because the Bulls drafted him.
Yeah.
Like, if there's one team with a track record that says we can really find mediocrity to pour in the draft, it is the Chicago Bulls. Their record is not good.
It's been when's their last great draft pick? Rose, Noah?
I guess Rose.
Rose was great.
No, Noah was good too, but
Noah's very good.
That would, I don't know.
Name his father. You should have this one.
Who? Joakim Noah?
Yeah.
Yannick
is correct.
Yannick Noah.
Oh, I do have a famous tennis player.
Jimmy Butler at 23 was cool a good one. Good shot by Scott.
Yeah, Butler was great.
Yeah.
Building off that trivia, I got a trivia for you that I just thought of because of a tab I have open. Where in the world was water skiing invented? Have you ever water skied, Drew?
Of course.
Of course you have. Where was it invented?
I've two skied, I've slalom skied, and I've wakeboarded. If you are going to try it, if you've never tried it, or if you are, find yourself at a lake this summer, go for the wakeboarding.
Wakeboarding is
substantially easier to learn. Water skiing is so hard to learn. Slalom skiing is hard, but not impossible. Wakeboarding is literally like boom, pop up. Water skiing was invented, I feel like Germany.
Not even the right continent. Not even the right continent.
Brazil.
Lake City, Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
There's a festival the kids want to go to because there's rides and shit up by the river, and it is water ski days because in 1922, obviously water skiing was invented in the state where we get 6 weeks of nice summer.
Well, yeah,
instead of somewhere down south. I know we do have a lot of lakes, and it's funny that the lake it was invented on, not really a lake. It's just the Mississippi River where it gets really fat.
Is cross country skiing a thing there?
Oh yeah, people love cross country.
Okay, so then that makes sense. That makes sense why it would be invented.
Yeah, it was like in the 20s. It was. I feel like it seemed like it would have been longer ago, but then the more I think about it, it's like, well, you had to have a pretty quick boat, and you weren't going to do it behind a fucking steamer.
Yeah, If you learn to water ski as a child, it's possible. Yes. But if you are an adult and you're trying to learn, just get a wakeboard.
The first time I learned, I just kept doing the thing where I didn't drop the rope. Mm-hmm. And at one point it pulled me like this.
Oh, sure.
Like I was on my stomach and pulled my shorts down. Lost a ski. Like they were not tight enough, and they just went whoosh to the bottom. My bare ass is sticking out of the water. It's like my girlfriend at the time.
You know what? You could have said, invent a hilarious story about me the first time I was water skiing. Yeah. I think I would have probably come up with that.
Yeah. I went down so many times.
Oh my goodness.
Alexandria, Minnesota, Lake Lahamadou, beautiful area too.
I learned to water ski at Lake Powell, Arizona. Lake Powell, Arizona. Going back to your Zion. I went to Zion and Lake Powell on the same trip back when I was in college, and learned to water ski there. It was absolutely like just an absolute paradise. So
what's the big lake in Arizona that's
so
really
cool?
What's the really big lake? No, the other one that's really touristy.
Lake Havasu.
Havasu, yeah.
A spring break.
I've always heard like Powell is go to Powell
smaller.
Instead.
Yeah, Lake Havasu is tiny relative to Lake Powell is vast. But I will tell you this. There is a very sad environmental movement against the Glen Canyon Dam, which forms Lake Powell, and they really don't like that dam because of who knows reasons why. And so they are
fucking up the environment.
It's not really though. It's just freaking just absolute Looney Tune environmentalists who are behind this, in my opinion. But they do a good job of releasing enough when they release to blow out the sediment in the Grand Canyon. Chill the fuck out. Anyway, they're between the drought and the environmentalists, the lake level in Lake Powell is down like 100+ feet. Right. So a lot of the coolest things you could do there when the lake was full, you just can't do anymore, which really sucks. So I would be depressed going out there right now.
I hate to be like, hey, this drought is cool, but that's when it was really, really low. That is an amazing thing to look at from above when you're coming into Vegas. Sure. No, the big
Mead.
lake,
yeah, Lake Mead.
Lake Mead, when you're coming into Vegas. I thought I booked my flight this morning.
Nice.
Flying in the 13th of August, leaving the 23rd of August. 10 days.
Why leave? Why leave at all?
I know. My wife is like, are you sure it's not cheaper just to fly home? Like, it's close, but at that same time, I don't like doing an extra flight. Like, that's 6 extra hours on an airplane. I could be doing life.
Yeah. Great. I've had great times out in the desert. Goddamn. Reminiscing about Lake Powell, Lake Havasu too. I'm excited to go out to the desert though, for sure. Signing up for contests will be at Circa, promoting the contest sign up that weekend of the 20th. So very exciting.
If you're doing sign up weekend or bet bash, I'll be out there hanging and banging. DeBundo.
Dabs likes Man City Juve.
Juve? Under.
UV?
Under. Our friend, our other Italian friend, because Debundo is very Italian, obviously, as well.
CWC is Club World Cup.
Giorgio is going to the match.
Oh, nice.
Hopefully the weather's nice, man, because it's been a hot one across the nation.
Was Juventus they weren't the runner-up in the UCL? That was Inter, right?
Yeah.
I
did.
don't even know who plays.
I didn't get the
Juventus
number.
anymore.
I didn't get nearly the number that he did, but I kind of semi-tailed Debundo. I took some Chelsea in the Calcio markets to win.
Oh, really?
To win the cup. It's basically the way the bracket laid out. It's not something I'm going to ride to the end. I'm going to try to extract some value out of it.
Ejecto Mundo. That's why you would do it at Calci. That's
why I did it at Calci, because honestly, most of the sports books I use are offshore and don't have the cash out button. Bovada does sometimes. Randomly, Bookmaker does sometimes. It feels very random when you get the cash out button. That's where I
wish Bookmaker had for the NBA draft markets yesterday.
Yeah,
much.
And I don't use sportsbook.ag as much as I used to.
I would have cashed if I had been able to cash out when we were recording, and I was saying that yesterday, I would have had an amazing draft day, and I could have just gotten work done instead of being distracted all day.
Yeah.
I should have been playing a Calci. That's the lesson.
It was so. I did look at that.
I had a $2 billion valuation.
I gained some value on some markets. It was tougher to cash out because some were just such small. They're like, hey, I put like $50 in this long shot, and it's like, hey, now it's worth 80, and I'm like, God, I didn't feel as good about it later. I'm like, should I just take this off? And if I tried to cash it out, instead of making $30, I lost like $5. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna ride this then instead. That's silly. Like, I'm not gonna take a loss on this. But and just because so few people were on either side of that market, honestly.
Got it.
So it was tough. I think if you were in a big ass market, like if it's NFL stuff or major, like this team to win the Super Bowl, maybe there'd be enough people on the other side to get off it. But it wasn't so much for the draft. I'll keep playing with it though.
Okay.
Like I said, we cashed in on Walter Clayton to go top 20, so I still have funds. I've never withdrawn. I don't know how that. Have you?
Did you get on with crypto?
Yeah, is it just? I suppose it's just crypto off too.
I'm assuming.
I know, but some places are a little slow with that.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk a little pop culture. I don't have anything else in sports. Caitlin Clark's not playing tonight in the Fever game, but I would lay the Fever at the 4.5. I did lay the Fever at the 4.5. I thought that was just a classic example of superstar subtraction, Andy.
Ewing theory.
WNBA, Ewing theory. The Sparks are very bad. I think Indiana still wins comfortably. Pop culture. What have you been watching lately?
All about Mad Men.
Oh, that's right. You told me that.
It's crazy because I think I've seen the first season a few times too many where it's like, I know exactly what happened.
You know where this is going.
I'm still gonna watch it. It's
you know that you're building up to the what is that little slide projector show? Is that what that thing's called?
Oh yeah. The carousel.
The carousel, right.
The Kodak carousel.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. Well, I think we'll get to this tomorrow because I'm not fully caught up on this. I don't know if it's actually a thing or if it's one of these things that Florio is trying to make a thing, because the latter happens quite a bit in my opinion.
What?
So I'm going to dig into this, that there's like collusion and the NFL is trying to
suppress salaries. Yeah.
No, suppress this story.
I don't know about they're suppressing the story, but suppressing salaries. Yeah. Like I'm shocked. I'm shocked to find out that the owners would collude about
the owners.
I'm shocked.
The owners and labor and management are at odds.
What? And it was coordinated by Roger. What? No.
Speaking of that,
no.
The nurses union in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, I believe, is striking. Which is
let's go.
Usually, that just means they're going to get a pay bump. And then when that happens, the nurses down here who are not union just get a random pay bump too to
Ooh.
like stay competitive. So we cheer for the union. I'm pro union when it comes to that.
Interesting. Okay. I have
Cubs Twins.
Cubs Twins.
Twins are red hot.
I like it.
They're not.
I like it. Are they? I have no idea.
They won the other day, but they're still like 9 games back.
I'm not
been
going
a
to start
tough hang.
betting. I'm not betting
I don't know.
baseball.
No.
I'm not betting baseball.
I don't know. Yeah, shit. I got a meeting today in a few
We
minutes.
got a Wimbledon. We got a
real
Wimbledon
quick, what are you
draw.
watching?
I just finished watching Paradise. I did not like it.
Oh, really?
No, it's just too much apocalypse, man. There's just too many apocalyptic shows out there. It all feels too on the nose. Like I don't need to have all of these thoughts in my head.
Why does everybody love a dystopia?
I don't. I've had enough.
You know what's better? A better premise than dystopian future? Like, I don't know what it's called, but like false utopia. Like Logan's Run or even like, not Stepford Wives, but something like that where everything seems perfect, but deep underneath the surface, something sinister.
Well, that's what
those are better than. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Those are usually better than just straight. The world's over.
Paradise, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone else who wants to watch it, and maybe some people will like it, but it is literally people are in what seems to be an idyllic community, but it is like an underground bunker after the end of the world. And the kind of the most well-loved episode of their entire season was the one where they kind of go back in time and they show you the end of the world happening and step by step. And like the main character, who's an actor I especially like, in Sterling K. Brown, he is so fucking annoying in that episode about trying to get the president's attention to get his wife out of Atlanta and back to DC after the president had been nonstop telling him, stop letting your wife go to Atlanta. Just keep her in DC and we'll get you to the utopia. And it's just like, and then he's like, he blames the president for his wife not being there. And it's just like, you like make this stop. Like, it is just absolutely infuriating that he is so distracted about trying to get the president's attention and get his wife to the plane. It's just like, they absolutely ruined what was otherwise a very good episode of television. But yeah,
I keep thinking I'm trying to go to there's a.
Oh, he was so fucking obnoxious.
There's a Twilight Zone episode that's similar.
Drove me crazy.
Yeah, it'll come to me. All right, I got a 10 o'clock meeting.
All right, man.
We can we'll vamp a little tomorrow on a F Around Friday. We'll see you guys. Have a great Thursday. Enjoy the soccer. Enjoy the tennis. Enjoy the baseball. Football previews start in a couple weeks.
Ooh, we are very close to that, actually.